right, welcome to Yin Yoga. Make sure you've got some props handy. I'll give some more light here, see how that works. Boom, there's some more light. And grab a bolster here today, and we're going to come into wide knee child pose on the bolster. So, knees wide, bolster between you, and simply rest with your head turned to one side. And just noticing how that feels on the low back today. Let the breath start to slow down. Let yourself arrive in child pose. Child pose, often that pose that really grounds you to the earth. Inhale, lift the head, and exhale, turn the head to the other side. Let your breathing deepen, moving towards your three-part yoga breath. In, exhale, release, and arrive. Inhale, lift the head. Bring the head to neutral this time. You can stack fists or hands. And then inhale, bring the hands under the shoulders. Come on up and flip your bolster 90 degrees so it comes across the mat. Extend the legs and rest your belly on the bolster and bring a block underneath your forehead so you can rest your forehead on the block. If the block is too hard for your forehead, use a roll-up blanket or towel and cross your arms in front of you, right arm on top of the left arm. Adjust the bolster if you have to. You can bring it down a little lower if you need to. Bring your palms onto the floor with the arms crossed. The arms are in the space between the bolster and the block. Walk the hands a little further apart so you create a slight stretching sensation in the back. And for the rest of the pose, give yourself time to explore moving the hands either further apart to create more separation between the shoulder blades, or bringing them back in if it becomes too intense. So again, use the principle of delicious discomfort for the pose. Noticing how it feels on the low back. If it's too intense on the low back, you can come onto your back and simply hug yourself, grabbing opposite shoulders. Try to keep the palms of the hand flat to the earth. Letting the breath remain gentle, deep, and slow. Explore bringing the hands out a little further if that works for you or not. Five more breaths if you can. On the fifth breath, slowly bring the hands back towards each other and rest the hands separate above the head. Resting the elbows on the ground. And then walk the elbows back, coming into Sphinx pose here. Supported Sphinx. So elbows back, turn the head left. Inhale the head neutral. Exhale the head right. We're going to try that once again with the opposite elbow on top. So bring that left elbow on top, right elbow across. Rest the head on your block or blanket. And come into the position that automatically feels the right distance apart. It might feel more natural to come into a wider stance this time with the hands. Let the breath slow down and explore the sensations of widening the hands or bringing them closer together. Whatever your body needs today, listen to the body. 5 more breaths if you can. And on the 5th breath, bring the hands back in. Let the palms come down onto the mat, uncrossed. And then bring the elbows back into your Sphinx pose. Turn the head left, exhale. Inhale, neutral. Turn the head right. Bring the hands back and push up onto all fours. A little cat and cow here. Notice how that feels on the back, the low back. And then come back to wide knee child pose. Rotate the bolster between the thighs. Come back. And then inhale, come up. Come onto all fours. And start to create some hip circles here. So it's not cat and cow, but slow circles with the hip. Let the pelvis turn. And let your head turn as well. Try to let the head and neck move circularly in a circle. So your chin comes down towards the chest and up and around. So you're feeling both ends of the spine synchronizing in their movements. So it feels very natural. And then the other way. Inhale to neutral, lift the right hand to the sky, and then thread the needle, bringing that right arm and shoulder down to the earth. Rotate the head towards the left. And just feel that rotation. To varying degrees, for different people here, bring your left hand back towards the face and push into the ground. Roll your weight onto your right knee and right shoulder and straighten the left leg. Just so you get a little more stretch in that right shoulder blade. Now it is a balanced position here, so you might find yourself tending to wobble backwards here. Some of you, if you want the extra little bit of work here, can lift the left leg up and down a few times. And just notice how that feels. If it doesn't feel good on the low back, just stay in the rest position or come back to child. For those who want to go to the full balance, lift the left leg, keep it up in the air, lift the left hand up. So you can play around with that. As long as the cat's not behind you, it's safe to fall backwards. Exhale, come back into child pose slowly. Maybe into embryo, grab the heels of the feet, rest the forehead on the ground, and just notice how that feels on the back. Inhale to neutral, tabletop, little cat and cow. Check how the back's feeling. Lift the left hand to the sky. Exhale, thread the needle. Push into the right hand, lean into that left knee so the balance comes into the left side of the body. Extend the right leg. Just feel that point of balance. Notice how it feels on the back. So we've got a thoracic twist for the back to help relieve tension in the back. And some of you might like to play with leg lifts up and down. And those who are playing with leg lifts can come into full balance. Leg lifted, right arm lifted, just to play with balance there. And then slowly come back to child. Grab the heels into embryo. Inhale, come back to tabletop. Come onto sit bones and bring the feet to the top of the mat. Grab a bolster close by and a towel for the back of the head. Come onto your back. Bring the bolster under the thighs. Come into five-pointed star here. Palms face up and just notice how your back feels. Exhale, head left. Inhale the head to neutral. Exhale, head right. Inhale the head to neutral. Bend the knees, lift the hips and bring the bolster underneath the hips. Lift both knees up into the ribs and just huddle into this fetal ball on your back. Cross the left ankle over the right ankle. Grab your kneecaps and start to push the knees in a circle. Just noticing this on the back. If at any time you need to come off the bolster, let yourself come off the bolster. The next time the knees come over the chest, pause, change the cross of the ankle, and push the other way. Push the circle in the other direction. Just notice where this impacts your body. You might feel it in the hips, the back. And then pause, extend both legs to the sky, rest the hands out beside you. Curl the toes back and spread the toes. Take the hands between the thighs, between the knees, and gently push into the splits. In the splits, allow the feet to rotate. First in one direction, and then the other. Point and flex the toes. Dangle the shins, come into sleeping bug. And then grab your feet into happy baby. You can gently rock from side to side if that feels good. Massaging out the shoulder blades here, the mid back, upper back. And then release the left leg to the earth. Grab the right leg into pigeon pose, hugging it in. And if it feels okay on the low back, extend the left leg out, toes curled back. See if you can grab that right foot into pigeon pose, so you're grabbing the foot and the knee. There you go. Remember, you can come off the bolster at any time if this is too much on the back. Now, an invitation for some of you, exhale, lift the head up, but keep as much of the back on the ground as you can. Shoulder blades are off the ground, of course. So head, shoulders, shoulder blades off the ground. And see if you can clasp your hands along that lower leg. So your elbow crooks around the foot and your other elbow crooks around the knee, and you're hugging. Imagine you're holding a little bambino. Now slowly bend the left knee and bring the left knee into the right ankle and lay back down. So you have a figure four. Bring your right hand through the figure four and grab your left hand around the shin if you can. If you cannot reach the shin, use a strap. Bring a strap around the shin and start to squeeze the shin in towards your hips. Get a nice strong squeeze here. Let your arms, your upper body, help release the piriformis, release the low back here. We'll be here for about 10 more breaths. Exhale, release, left foot to the earth, uncross. Both feet on the earth, inhale, lift the hips up into bridge pose, relax the arms, palms face out, upwards. Notice how your low back feels. Exhale, come down, pick up the left knee this time. Find yourself in pigeon, extend the right leg if it feels comfortable. Now for those who want to go into the crunch here, exhale, lift the head up, chin towards the chest, and you're going to crook your elbows around your foot and your knee and clasp the hands into a little bambino hold there. So it's a kind of deeper crunch, but it gives you a little more intensity into that thigh. And then slowly bring the right knee back into that left ankle. So now your ankle is pushing in. You can relax the torso and head here. Bring it back down to the ground. So you got your figure four, left hand through the figure four. Connect with your right hand around the shin. Use a strap around the shin if you cannot reach. Use your upper body strength to compress the figure four even a little more if you want that extra little release. Five more breaths. Add more squeeze or less squeeze depending on what your body needs right now. On the fifth breath, release both hands, release both feet to the earth. Lift the hips up and feel your bridge pose. You might move the blanket from under the head for now. And I want you to feel like you have choice here. So if your bridge pose is too much on the low back, take a block on top of your bolster and rest your hips on the block. If you want to go a little deeper, walk your shoulders in a little closer, lift the bridge pose a little higher. Keep the back of the neck long, chin towards the chest. Come down whenever you need. We're going to be here for 15 minutes. Just joking. If you're working on height, squeeze the buttocks and lift up a little higher. If you're working on relaxation, bring the hips to the bolster or the block on top of the bolster. For 3, 2. Now remove the bolster and block from underneath you and slowly come down. Keep the spine long. Keep the spine long by walking the head back, and then pick up the knees and rock from side to side. Smooth out all the sensations in the low back here. Prepare for floppy shin. Cross the right knee over the left, flop the shin. Hands 90 degrees. Notice how that feels on the low back. Pause, push down through the left foot, lift the hips nice and high into the air, and then roll onto your left hip and come into that lumbar twist now. Notice how that feels on the back. Exhale the head to the right. Now settle in here by relaxing. Invite relaxation into your sensation. And notice what relaxation and sensation, how they mix together. What happens when you relax into rather than resist the twist. Imagine your body softening in as many places as you can. Imagine you've become like water. Feel the fluidity in the stretch. Let your breathing be gentle. For some of you, take your left hand onto your right thigh, push it away, reach the right arm back over the head. So you're creating length through that right rib cage in your lumbar twist. Keep the head turning to the right if you can. And feel that stretch right down where the pelvis meets the hips, or the hips meet the abdominals. Just feel that on that right side. And just be careful there. If it gets a little intense, back off the stretch and come back into it. Inhale the head to neutral, bring that right arm back to neutral, and uncross slowly. Uncross slowly. Then come into Shavasana. Coming into Shavasana simply to notice the contrast you've created in one side of the body to the other. So the reason we want to notice the contrast is to bring awareness to what we just did and the effect it has on the body. When we bring awareness to the effect we have on the body, our yoga goes more deeply, more efficiently. So with that awareness on the right side of the body, bend the knees, come into floppy shin on the other side. Left over right, flop the shin, arms perpendicular. Feeling that relaxation through the right side of the body now. All right, pause, bringing that foot in a little closer, push down and lift the hips up. Rotate onto the right hip, knees to the right, come into your lumbar twist on that right side. Turn the head left. And notice, once again, there'll be a reluctance for the muscles to relax. So send your awareness into your left side, inviting the left side to soften. And notice what happens when you do that. So we move away from this victimization towards stretch to, oh, I can actually change my relationship to the stretch through my awareness. That's a very powerful part of your yoga, to simply change the way you relate to the sensations you feel. Not easy, but very profound. It's going to help you in all sorts of situations that we face in everyday life to do with stress. Change your relationship to the stress. And notice what happens when you do. The habit will keep coming back. And use that as a way to create a new habit, a new reminder to relax in the face of tension. Become soft like water. Bring the right hand to the left thigh and push it away. Reach the left arm up over the head, creating a stretch through that left rib cage. Five more breaths here if you can. Come out slowly, gradually, gently into Shavasana. Once again, aware of the contrast before and after of that left side. Gently bend the knees. Roll to one side, curl up into a little ball. And press on up. Prepare for butterfly pose. I like to have the hips slightly tilted forward, so I'm going to use a blanket. This is a towel I have, and use the edge of the towel. Sit on the edge of the towel to tilt the pelvis forward. Have your blocks and bolster handy. Bring the soles of the feet together. And use, if you can, use the bolster to support the head, or use your blocks, one on top of the other, to support your head. And use the support in such a way that your head's down as low as you can, that feels deliciously uncomfortable. So you find your edge here. To bring the head down using the bolster, you simply push the base of the bolster further away. And with the blocks, you can rotate the heights to match the sensation. Notice your sensations and your reaction to the sensations. Soften your reaction. Soften your reaction. Become soft like water. Relax the shoulders, neck, face. Imagine that transubstantiation where you're moving from solid to liquid. As the weight of your head becomes more pronounced on your prop, that's when you might change the prop and come a little lower. For instance, if you're using blocks, you could bring it down lower by rotating, or rest a hand on the lowered block. Keep moving towards that fluid state. If you find yourself retracting or recoiling or contracting because of the sensation, reduce the amount of intensity a little bit. Stay in that fluid state. Five more breaths here. Check in if you can go lower. When you come out, use your hands to pick you up. Don't use the back. Use your hands to support you. Come out gradually. Coming upright. Lift those knees. Stand the feet on the mat. Lean back into your hands and come off the pillow or the cushion or the blanket and simply windshield wiper the knees slowly from side to side. Be cautious of the back. Oh. Now we'll come into one more twist here. The next time the knees come to the right, bring them both down to the ground and start to walk your hands around into a circle behind you until you can come onto your elbows. So it's going to look like this. I'll do it sideways here. Your knees are on the ground. You walk your hands to the right and bring your elbows down into that twisted sphinx here. Explore cat and cow in this position. Very gentle. On the exhale particularly, tighten the pelvis, tuck the tailbone, draw the navel in. Be very protective of the low back here. Go slowly with the breath. So we're not only creating flexibility in the spine, but also stabilization at the base of the spine as we contract and draw the navel in. Teaching ourselves to support the low back with the abdominals. And then slowly walk the hands back. Let the hands straighten you, lift you up. Prepare to come to the other side. So walk your hands back to the left. Come up through neutral. Bring the knees to the left this time. And then walk your hands to the left. Coming into your twisted sphinx on this side. Now, if the cat and cow doesn't work for you, if it's not right for you today, just stay with twisted sphinx. Otherwise, start to move through your cat and cow. Conscious of the abdominals and the low back. Make sure the head is moving with the hips. Try to lift the chin and lower the chin. As the pelvis moves. Come to neutral, walking the hands back. Lift you up. And then grab your bolster once again. for wide knee supported child pose. So bring the bolster between the thighs, come down onto the bolster and support the forehead or if you want a little more neck twist, turn the head to one side for half a dozen breaths and then the other side for half a dozen breaths. So either neck straight, support the forehead, or turning from one side to the other. Turn your head if you haven't already. Bring the head to neutral and use your hands to pick you up. And then come into Vajrasana. You can sit on 1, 2, or no blocks here. Palms face up on the thighs, shoulders back. Notice your posture. Notice your breath. Notice the smile on your face. Notice where your practice has brought you today. Bring the hands together at the chest. Let the head bow in gratitude for each other's company. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.